Hi, my name's Emily Zimmerman and I'm a new teacher here at RMC, and I'm super excited because I was a student here once as well. When I was a student here, I started taking guitar lessons, and I had another teacher kind of introduce me to the bass guitar, which is now my main instrument. I also took a couple drum lessons. I learned how to play the ukulele here, but really through my studies here, I learned how to kind of teach myself. And that's something I am really excited to teach my students, is how to continue to learn and grow in your own time, just empowering all the young girls to shred their faces off. I would say I'm definitely super excited to expose students to new kinds of music that they haven't heard before. Maybe something that's not always the first thing you hear on the radio, but might just be like an awesome song that they really connect with and really inspires them to, continue playing and getting as comfortable with their instrument as they can. RMC is like such a community. On the one hand, it definitely showed me how the music scene is a community. It brings people together from all different walks of life, and I think that's the most magical thing. But also I learned at RMC that, it's not always necessarily just about how much theory you know or how many scales you can play, but it's also about, putting your heart and soul into what you're playing and really connecting with the music itself. So I think in that way, kind of learning to be a musician and fostering musicianship as well as the technical side of things. I think Rockshop is one of the coolest programs at RMC because it teaches kids how to play with each other as musicians. It's one thing to be able to play something solo, and there's so much to be said for that. But at the same time, being able to really kind of get in a pocket and get in a groove with other musicians is so huge, and I think really important, if someone wants to continue playing music for the rest of their lives. I was in two main rock shops while I was here. In the first band I played in, I remember I started as a guitarist, and at one point, G said to me, he was like, you're putting a lot of emphasis on the low end. Have you ever played the bass before? And I remember being this small little 12-year-old kid, and he slapped this huge jazz bass on me. And I remember the first time playing the bass, I was like, man, I feel big. So that was definitely huge for me, having that moment in a rock shop, finding what felt like my instrument that I could really play confidently. But then the second band I was in was called Double Sided. When we stopped doing the rock shop, we then started booking our own shows at Crossroads and a bunch of local venues. So it was just so cool to feel wow, we did this in the studio, and now it's wow, we can take what we learned and really apply it in the world. I'm just super grateful for EJ. He was my first teacher here. He just really always instilled in his students, you just gotta keep working at it and you'll get it, and the more you practice, the better you're gonna be. He really instills a love for music in all of his students, and he definitely kind of helped instill that into me, and finding the joy in everything you're doing, even the scales. I just think it's really magical that he's created this community.